Hi, this is part 4 of the Summer Library Pursuit Week 1 Nessie Sewing Project. So today we're going to go over the head gusset and the bottom gusset of your Nessie stuffed animal. So that is this part on top here, this part on the bottom. So the first thing you're going to do is grab part F, pattern piece F. This is the head gusset. You're going to take a look on this pattern piece and you're going to see the numbers 1 and 6. And you're going to use your pencil to mark that on the fabric. Then you're going to take one of your finished sides that look like this, and you are going to find your pattern piece A, and you're going to lay that down, and you are going to mark 1 and 6 on there. Now 1 is where you sewed your neck dart, so that one you might not need to mark because it's right where that seam meets, but you definitely want to mark 6. So mark that on your all right. So what you're going to do is match the number 6 on your head gusset to the number 6 on the head of your Nessie. And you want to make sure that you have right side together because we are going to turn this inside out. So you want the seams on the inside. So you're going to be laying this down on the table facing you like that. And then you're going to meet the number 6 with the 6. And then the 1 is going to be where the neck dart is. And then you're going to pin that. So I'm going to pin that quick so I can show you how that's going to work. You're just going to need to follow the curve because both pattern pieces are curved. So it's not going to be a straight pin. So you just need to follow the curves of the fabric and pin it on there. And if you want, you can pin the 2 ends first, so the 6 and the 1, and then kind of maneuver the fabric around to make it fit. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. So your right side is on the inside, your gusset has been pinned to the top there. So then you're going to take your needle and thread and you're going to sew that. When you start at an end, you're going to want to do a back stitch. That means you're going to do a stitch and then you're going to go back and go right over that stitch. That just makes that seam area extra secure, and that's good for edges. And then you'll do that again when you get down to the other end. So I'm going to sew that up. All right, so now you have the head gusset sewn on one side. So we can start on the bottom gusset. So this is pattern piece E. So you're going to look at that pattern piece and you're going to see the numbers 4 and 5 on either end. So you're going to mark your fabric with your pencil where those numbers are. So just a little dot. Then you're going to take the piece that you've just added the one side of the head gusset to and your pattern piece A, and you're going to lay that down and you're going to mark the numbers 4 and 5 on the main pattern piece. So that is at the bottom of your Nessie. and then also, so 5's at the bottom and 4 is up here at the neck. All right. Now you're going to take your bottom gusset and you're going to do the same thing that you did for the head one. You're going to match up the numbers that you've marked on to your side piece. And remember to have the right side in. So the right side of your Nessie is going to be facing up. So the skinny side, where 5 is going to meet here. And you're going to pin that. And then 4 is going to meet up at the neck. I'll show you what that looks like. So the piece is going to be pinned up like that, covering the body. And then you're going to pin all along there like you did. And there's more detailed instructions in the paper pattern, as well as photos. So if this video instruction is just not giving you the information that you need, please refer to that has much better instructions. And one thing you need to remember when pinning this is the fins need to be inside. So you gotta place those in between. So if you can see here, the fins are folded up in because we're going to sew this and we wanna make sure the fins are out and not stuck in the inside of the body. And like with the last one, the pieces are a little curved, so it's good to pin the 2 edges first and then go around the curve because you may need to do some fabric adjusting for that. All right, so there it's pinned. So that way when you sew it and we turn it inside out, it'll look like that. All right, so now you can sew. Like the last one, you want to back stitch where you start and where you stop so that the seams are secure. All right, so once you have the bottom gusset sewn on to one side, it'll look like that. And then when you fold it right side, you'll see that your flippers will stick out nicely. All right, but before we turn it right side out, we need to add the second side to our bottom gusset. But the first thing that we need to do is mark it and also mark the opening that you'll need to not sew so that we can turn it right side out and add the stuffing. So you're gonna take your side that has no gussets on it, you're gonna lay that down, match with the pattern, and you're going to mark the 5 and the 4 like you did for the bottom gusset, but you're also going to mark these 2 dots right here. This opening you are not going to sew. So when you sew the bottom gusset, you are going to start up here, sew, stop, back stitch, sew here, and back stitch on these 2 edges. So this is going to be where you turn the stuffed animal right side out. So make sure you mark those on your piece. So I'm going to mark the 4, the 5, and our 2 circles for the opening. Now you're going to match up this unsewn edge of your bottom gusset to your second side piece. So you're going to lay it right side up on the table, and then you're going to take this piece and right side down on top. And remember to flip your flippers inside. And then you're going to match the 4 and the 5 with your pins. And then you're going to pin the rest of it, making sure you go along with the curve of the fabric. And then you're going to remember to look for your 2 dots that you marked for your opening. And you don't need to pin there because you're not going to be sewing there. So there, it's pinned again. And then you're going to take your needle and thread, or your machine if you're using one, and sew that bottom part. All right, now that you have the second half of the bottom gusset sewn and your opening to turning it right side out, you can now sew the second half of the head gusset. So right now your Nessie should be inside out, so you should be seeing all the seams. You're going to take the head gusset part that you have sewn to the one side, and you're going to connect it to the side like that. Now, once again, you can match up the marks of 1 and 6 and pin along the curve. So six, I believe, here we go. 6 is right at the tip of the nose. So we're going to pin right here. And then 1 was that neck dart. So we're going to pin right there. And then you're going to match up the curves. Now with these gussets, you're going to see on the corners that you're matching sometimes 3 edges. So it's really important that your stitches are strong when you get to those corners, because you're going to have to hold all of that together. So I'll show you that in a minute here. Okay, so for example, down here when you did the very tip of the tail, there's 3 pieces of fabric here. So when you sew these seams, you want to make sure that they're extra strong and that all the pieces are matching up. On here, you're going to see right at this neck part, there's 3 pieces meeting here in this corner. So you want to make sure that stitch is pretty strong. Also, at Nessie's nose tip, 3 pieces again that are meeting. You can always, after the fact, if you see that the stitches are not strong enough, you can rethread your needle and stitch it again. That's something you can do as we're finishing the project if you don't think that you got it strong enough the first time. So once this head gusset is sewn on, or pinned on, you're going to sew. You're going to start at the tip of his nose and go all the way back down to the neck. All right, so now that you have the second side of the head gusset done, our next video will show you how to sew up the back seam, the little seam here below the nose. We're going to turn it inside, right side out, and then we're going to fill Nessie with stuffing and finish up the last seam. So you're almost done.